Hey guys, Scott with Flip and Customize, and behind us we got this 2020 four-seater Kawasaki side-by-side. And what we're going to do today is just a real quick, not a definitive how-to, but a real quick custom bracket for a Bluetooth speaker for this customer, because quite frankly, there is no room overhead without it being in your face or bouncing your head off from it. And the only place we saw that's going to work is literally between these seats, like right here, and it's going to mount vertically like a snorkel, and that's it right there. It's a Pyle Bluetooth speaker. The things sound killer, to be honest with you. So let me I'll set it in place there. You can kind of show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so it's just kind of sitting there right now, sitting down on the seats. But essentially, I'm going to make a custom bracket here. And we've already templated it out of the cardboard, and I'll show you that. And the speaker's going to come up like another inch. It's still below the top of the frame, so he wants to put a sunshade on there, he can. And it actually looks pretty cool, and it doesn't interfere with the passengers. So that's not a bad little setup, and it's going to blast that music forward, which is what he wants. And it plugs in right there. So that's going to be a nice clean install. Let me show you the template. We can get this thing cut out on the plasma table. Here it is. So we've templated this out right here for the machine, and basically going to be out of 3/16 steel that I've transferred onto the metal plate right there. We'll trace that out with the our little plasma cutter here. I wish I had a table. I don't yet. It's not quite in the budget, but soon, hopefully soon. And then what we're gonna do is, once the bracket's cleaned up, it's actually going to be held on with these hose clamps, 8-inch hose clamps on the tube itself. And we're going to get it cleaned up and send it to powder coat in a bright V-twin orange, so it's going to stand out. It's going to look pretty slick. A little better, a little easier, but we don't. Alright, there we go. Pretty much freehand for the most part. Not perfect by any means, but let me get this ground up, cleaned up, and the holes drilled, and have another look-see at it. Alright, time for some mountain holes. Alright, got the holes drilled, countersunk, into the blast cabinet we go. Give this thing a blast, and then it's on to some powder coat. Alright, we got our temporary spray booth set up from our boys over at Spray Right. That's easygoproducts.com where we got this bad boy from. And it just goes up like a tent, and it lets light through pretty good, and you can add some lighting in it. It also has like this netting if you're actually spraying wet parts in there and you want to keep the insects out. If you're like me and you work in a small shop and there's just stuff everywhere. But it does a good job with powder coating too, because it contains all that powder that's kind of atomizing and floating all over the place to one area. So we'll go ahead and get some bright orange on these brackets here and get them baking. That's some bright orange right there. And a good thick coat. This thing's gonna see some abuse. So. I don't have top of the line powder coating equipment or anything, so there it is, out of powder coat, and came out pretty decent. Even got the straps all done as well. So now we just gotta get this thing mounted up. I'm gonna put a little adhesive sheet rubber down the middle where it's going to clamp on, and we'll be done. All right, guys, there it is, all mounted up. We got the Pyle Bluetooth speaker mounted vertically with the custom bracket that we made for this Kawasaki Teryx 4-seater side-by-side. We got it in there with some rubber so we don't damage anything. That's the custom bracket on there, and it's below the roll bar, which is good, and it's out of the way. People aren't going to be hitting their heads on it unless you're, like, I guess, rolling this thing over. That's always a possibility. But overall, a nice clean install. It's not in people's line of sight, and actually sounds really good too. Let's see if we can't crank her up. Oh yeah! All right, what do you think, bud?
Good.
All right, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode of the custom bracket we made for the side-by-side to mount their Bluetooth speaker. If you like this episode, please tune in and subscribe to more and help us grow. Thanks again. Flippin' Customized.